Welcome back to the Last Week This Week podcast, episode 87. I'm Ian Scott.
And I'm Zach Huber.
And this is the podcast where we talk about movie and TV topics from the last week and get them to you all this week. And this week we're coming off a huge CinemaCon week, so we got a ton of great, exciting movie topics to go through with you.
Yeah, we're going to go through all the things that we found particularly interesting and exciting that came out of CinemaCon this week. Mm-hmm. We also have the Avengers Doomsday cast that just got released the day after we recorded last.
Yep. So we're a little behind on that.
A long stream of just chairs and names on the back of chairs for
5 hours.
Was it 5 hours?
5 hour stream. Crazy.
Yeah. Some people think it's stupid. Some people thought it was
a little stupid.
Genius. I mean, they got the highest stream viewer count that they've ever done. But at the same time, if you have people popping in and out for 5 hours, maybe that's why.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
I don't know.
Exactly.
And then we also had an update about Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood sequel. If we want to call it that, basically a Cliff Booth sequel movie is announced at Netflix that we'll talk about briefly, and maybe some surprise topics if we have time. The first thing that we are going to talk about though is that Doomsday cast that got announced last week.
Yeah,
a long list of names. I think it's
do we want to go through them?
23 or 27.
It is a lot. I mean, I guess in general, you have 7 of the X-Men members, which are Mystique, Professor X, Nightcrawler, Magneto, Beast. Was there anybody else?
Gambit.
Struggling with another name. But then you have the Fantastic Four and the Thunderbolts minus Taskmaster.
No surprise there.
Yeah, well, just fully spoiling that fact that Taskmaster's good. And I don't know if you've seen.
It's the worst
they've
kept
put
secret.
Out, it really is. The last 2 trailers the Thunderbolts have put out, or teasers, whatever you want to call them, have been they're not even trying to hide the fact that Taskmaster isn't in the movie after the first scene.
Right.
It's so obvious. But yeah, and then you have the Wakandans. So you have M'Baku and
Shuri.
Shuri is it's the new Black Panther. You have Ant-Man, Thor, and Loki. I think that might be it.
Well, we got Thor. We got Shang-Chi.
Yeah,
Captain America, right. Falcon.
Yep. True.
And then if you wanna lump
I forgot Cyclops in that X-Men list.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if you want to lump in Namor with the Wakandans, I guess you could. I guess that's kind of how I think about it a little bit, because at CinemaCon, Kevin Feige did talk about that. First of all, a lot of people were expecting, or suspecting, I guess, that there was a lot of names surprisingly not on this list.
Mm-hmm.
That the full list hasn't been revealed yet. So that's kind of, which to be honest, makes sense. Maybe we will get another 5 hour stream of chairs and the last person on that chair will be the last
Chris
chair will be Chris Evans or something, right?
Sure.
Or Tom Holland or something like that, right?
Yeah, because it's incredibly surprising that. Well, I'll I guess to lead up to that, Kevin Feige during CinemaCon recently stated, obviously we revealed many, but not all of the cast, and then said that the movie is going to focus on the Avengers, the Wakandans, Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts, and original X-Men all fighting Doctor Doom. And I mean, obviously, the Avengers are one of those groups. It's the title of the movie, Avengers Doomsday, right? And the fact that Doctor Strange isn't around in this movie blows my mind, because he's now an Avenger, I feel like. Or at least heavily affiliated with the Avengers.
Yeah, but he did come out and say that he's not going to be in Doomsday.
Well, but I don't know if you remember, after that he said, "Sorry, I was wrong. I'm going to be in both." So, which is interesting, so I think he's going to be one of the other people announced later on. it's just weird that they wouldn't do it now.
He could be like, I could see him being a cameo.
Yeah.
I still
because
think
his presence just feels so important to the multiverse, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
Same with Wong, you know.
I don't know. I feel like it. I know he's gonna. I feel he definitely has to be there for Secret Wars. I just feel like
yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me if like, look, I don't believe like anybody who says anything regarding what they're gonna be, and I don't really trust anymore. So like, I just assume everyone's lying at this point.
Sure. Yeah.
Which
That's
is
fair.
problematic for sure.
Well, for us talking heads that talk about this kind of stuff,
right? So like he could be in there, but like what I find interesting, at least just with this cast, and then we can kind of go into the people who weren't announced. That was also equally surprising.
Yeah.
Like if we're just basing it off of the list that we have here, where we basically are broken up into like 5 different groups.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Wakandans, like I assume that who's the head of the Dora Milaje, like the main Okoye.
Yeah.
So like I assume Okoye would be a part.
Agreed.
In some degree with the Wakandans, but I basically would like lump in like M'Baku and Namor into that.
Right.
Or Black Panther into like that Wakandan side, even though you would assume that like Black Panther would maybe want to be a part of the Avengers side of things. But if you look at like who's supposed to be on the lunchbox now, just from this list here, you got Ant-Man, Shang-Chi,
Thor, Black Panther,
maybe.
I feel like Shuri Black Panther is there now.
Why?
Well, because
there's no indication.
Well, I will say like that movie. Well, the movie, like her movie doesn't set up her to be in the Avengers, but like I would just say, yeah, you're right, because it is the Wakandans. But like to me, she's at least a main staple of the MCU now. It feels like, because like her movie was critically well received and did well at the box office. So I mean, and which, you know, again, kind of surprises me that like another box office hit like Guardians, like none of the Guardians cast were announced for this.
Right.
And they fully leave off that movie showing that there's a new Guardians group that could really kick ass. You know, you got Adam Warlock, Groot and Rocket's obviously still there. And you have the girl, I can't remember her name, from that alien race. She's pretty powerful from what I hear. And then also you got the new kind of Yondu with James Gunn's brother there. So yeah, I don't know. It would be a cool group to see. I'm a little surprised they're not in it, but
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not. I feel like they're
the only ones that aren't on Earth. So there's that.
They still could show up.
Yeah,
but like
it's just like it's another group
like
you can use.
Cameo.
You know?
But you already like have like 5 different ones here, right?
Yeah, I guess. Like
adding another like cosmic element, you know, that's not even on Earth. Like, I don't. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have like with Captain America, Falcon, Thor, Shang-Chi, and Ant-Man. Is that your
Falcon is one of them?
Yeah, he's an
I know he's an Avenger, but he's not
no, I know he's not.
We even agreed he's not.
We agree
like
he's not. But he is.
Oh man, there's got to be more than that. Like they got to like.
I'm seeing just based off of this list.
I know. Yeah,
that's who's the lunchbox right now.
Which is kind of mind blowing. That there's not more of a solid group. I mean, Ant-Man, Thor, and Captain America. And did you say somebody else?
Falcon.
That's it. There's just 4.
No, and Shang-Chi.
Okay, and Shang-Chi. Okay, yeah. I mean, obviously, I think Spider-Man,
which is like a pretty good group. It's a pretty good.
there.
It's still a pretty good group. it's just a surprising group because when we go into like no Mark Ruffalo as Hulk.
Yeah, that's a big
very one. Very surprising.
Very surprising.
Like we said before, no Okoye,
no Hawkeye.
No Hawkeye.
Yeah.
No Wong.
Yep.
Definitely no Spider-Man. That was very. I mean, and if you're gonna have Ant-Man, you don't have Evangeline Lilly as the Wasp. Like that's
pretty crazy too. Yeah.
But I would like to believe that like she's gonna show up. But what also?
Well, here's the biggest thing too. We haven't mentioned it. So go on. If you're gonna say.
Well, War Machine.
Oh, I was gonna say the biggest one to me is Captain Marvel.
Well,
because she's back on Earth after the Marvels, they set her back on Earth to be, you know, I'm gonna stay here and help, and now she's not gonna be an Avenger. Like that's wild.
I think they definitely are gonna have like, another like 5-hour stream.
It seems like it. There's just too many important characters that have been left off here.
But I could be wrong. I mean, like it's very surprising. Like, yeah, no Captain Marvel, which I'm not like.
Yes, I'm not like dying to see her again.
But also like
she's important.
No Monica Rambeau.
Yeah.
Which,
I don't know if you're. Oh, sorry. Go on.
Well, because you bring up like Kelsey Grammer's Beast, but
yeah, that kind of like. I mean, if she's not in the movie, it's gonna bother me because they set up the Monica Rambeau. Gosh, what was her superhero name? I can't remember it now.
Photon,
right. But then they also set up the other Captain Marvel that was like her mom. Right.
Yeah.
So they should both be in that story with the X-Men. I'm not really sure what the hell happened to those two characters.
And I feel like they have to. Like there'll be like a bridge point, but it is going to be a lot of exposition to try to explain in that movie, like why they would be over there.
Yeah, well, it's people who haven't seen it. You mean?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. That's fair.
Which like maybe they'll figure it out. I don't know.
I was gonna say, and I'm sure to your disappointment, none of the Eternals were put in this cast.
Yeah, I mean, but as everything's like progressing, it's like. How do you fit that story in at this point? You know?
Yeah, I mean, and like a report I saw, and you know, take it with a grain of salt, is that like it sounds like they're just going to be ignoring Eternals from here on out, maybe, which is odd because they straight up didn't ignore it in Captain America: Brave New World, you know, because they brought in that whole, you know, a celestial that raised out of the earth.
I don't think that they're done with it.
I hope not, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't want that movie to have been like a complete waste of time for the universe.
Yeah. I mean, it won't in a way because it will be like having something to do with like mutants, right?
Okay, sure.
Because like I think
they're mutants.
I think there's a possibility that you can turn Tiamat into Krakoa in a weird way because like they talk about that place being like a living island.
Sure.
And if it's like the birthplace of adamantium, like it could happen potentially. Or they terraform that whole body of, you know, into the Indian Ocean.
I kind of like that.
Anyways, but yeah, all these like I want to say like didn't really think that Charlie Cox's Daredevil was going to be
no, I think like there's going to be a street side of the MCU. It would be cool to see him. I just don't think like he's going to show up at all in these Avengers movies.
Chris Pratt as Star-Lord, I would have given that like a 50-50 chance.
Same with Vision.
Same with Vision. I
saw those two together.
Oscar Isaac, Moon Knight. That was a hot chance.
Long shot.
Yeah.
Same with She-Hulk. You know?
Same with She-Hulk. I'm really surprised there's no John Cheadle War Machine though.
That is surprising because Secret Wars obviously is bad, but he's got a really cool plot point that they can build off of.
But also, like he is an Avenger.
He's an OG Avenger, right?
You know.
Well, maybe not OG, but you know what I mean. Like he's very close to being OG Avenger.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. And it's like
what's going on there?
I don't know. So there's a lot of names that have been left off the list.
Correct. Especially a lot of Avengers names, it seems like. So I would assume we're going to get, possibly, like you said, Don Cheadle, possibly Tom Holland. Who are the other Avengers that we just discussed? Hulk and Hawkeye. Yeah, I think it's possible we see all those names to build out the Avengers roster. But I also wouldn't be surprised if we see like more of the Young Avengers names pop up in the second reveal, just to build up that group.
Yeah, though I think it might be a little too much to try to start building that up as well.
But you could combine like them all into being Avengers,
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe. Right.
Maybe.
But you're right. I mean, this is a ton of characters, probably even more than Endgame characters. So yeah, I don't envy the writing in this one. Like that, this seems complicated to put together for sure.
But I did want to mention that I was very pleasantly surprised to see Channing Tatum come back.
I was too. Yeah.
And like really Alan Cumming and the original Mystique. I was telling you about that meme. Like we finally say goodbye to the Fox universe in 2014, and then every year since then,
2017, 2024,
and we're gonna do the same thing in 2026.
Yep.
But hopefully that will be the last time. I imagine.
I hope. What's interesting though is that like. Again, for X-Men, I mean, there's only 7 that they announced, and obviously the X-Men are
7.
But they left out
7.
They left out Wolverine. I mean, like he wasn't announced. They left out Deadpool. They left out Storm.
Right.
Jean Grey wasn't announced. So like there are important characters that we aren't seeing, and like Halle Berry already came out and said, "Don't expect me to be revealed. I'm not going to be in this movie." And I was like,
which again, I don't trust anybody.
Yeah, but point. I know she doesn't. I don't think she has maybe the greatest relationship with those movies. Like I know she was basically lied to into being in like the X-Men 3. I don't know if you heard about that whole controversy where like
something with Bryan Singer. I think.
Bryan Singer or like the original writing directing team like wrote an entire opening for her character that was like saving people in Africa just to get her to sign on to the movie, and they were gonna cut it out regardless. And I'm like, wow, that's some snaky shit.
Yeah,
but I understand.
Again, like I still feel like there's the potential for like a cameo. Like I just think like gratuitous cameos is just the name of the game with the MCU right now. So
but also it is kind of surprising that Channing Tatum is the only one from that like cool cameo group from like Deadpool and Wolverine. Like no Elektra, no Blade,
Again.
But yeah, there's obviously more names to come, So maybe the second round is more like these are like what we got were like the main players in this, and like the second round is people who don't have as much screen time, possibly.
Yeah.
We'll see though. It's it was a long ass.
But we know Chris Evans is coming back. So I'm just inclined to think that like like maybe like they say like in production now.
Yeah.
At the end of
it's
that.
Like filming and a few days or something.
And then maybe they do another one that's like now shooting. I don't know.
Maybe. I hope it's soon. Because leaving us all in kind of limbo here.
But regardless, very I'm excited.
Yes.
But I'm also very, very nervous.
Cautiously excited. Yeah.
But there was like comments that like the Russo brothers made where they were, going into like, well, we think we found like an in, and it might be a little like I think I heard, it might be a little controversial, the things that we do, which like I think tracks well,
It does track with them. Yeah. And The only thing that makes me nervous about them is the stuff they've done recently outside of the MCU.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and so I'm like, you honestly, like, I thought of Infinity War and Endgame were two of like the most visually beautiful movies of that whole saga, and so that's what like got me excited for them to return. But like I said, the movies they've made since haven't been visually beautiful or storytellingly exciting. So, yeah, yeah. I cautiously excited, like I said.
Right. Well,
yeah, that's the list.
Yeah, and now we're gonna go into a lot of I think we got like 10 things from CinemaCon that we wanted to talk about.
For sure. Yeah, a lot of cool stuff.
The first thing, which I did not expect to talk about, have any John Wick news. To be honest,
we got a lot though.
But we got a lot.
Yeah.
We got a lot. So the first thing, or one of the first things that was announced, was an animated John Wick prequel movie that is inspired by anime. And it's following John as he completes the impossible task, the killing of all of his rivals in one night, in order to free himself from his obligation to the High Table and earn the right to be with the love of his life, Helen. So basically, we get to see we get to see how he got to where he was in the first movie. Right.
Yeah. Which is super dope.
And in here, I have one gripe with it.
Okay. You're leaving out like the mystery of it all, or what?
Right. That's the only thing. Like, I'm just like this. Like, sometimes I just like to like just imagine what did he do.
Right.
But then we're gonna like now the fact that this is animated.
Right, you can like really heighten it and like give us like the most badass John Wick action and story we've ever seen.
It could be amazing.
It could, yeah.
And you know, like it's also being directed by the guy who did Kubo and the Two Strings. Granted, I've not seen that movie, but I've heard nothing but like amazing. Well, actually, I think Travis Knight did Kubo and the Two Strings. Maybe this guy did something else with that movie, but I have heard nothing but good things about that movie in particular. Keanu Reeves will also return to voice John, which like, not that you couldn't have a voice actor do like a Keanu.
He wrote Kubo and the Two Strings, this guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
But now he's going to direct this animated,
I guess so.
movie.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, besides the fact that I would potentially prefer to just leave that up to the imagination, I still think it sounds pretty awesome. So
agreed. It does, and I love that he's kind of coming back to voice it. And I like, obviously we wouldn't be able to tell the story in live action because you know he's like 10 years older than he started off.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm very happy with the direction of this one. Very cool.
Right. Yeah. We also got the Kane spin-off movie with Donnie Yen, who's gonna, not only is he gonna star in it, but he's also gonna direct it.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen any of his movies, Donnie Yen. But,
I don't think I have either.
But I've heard like he has a very like specific style, like visual style to his movies, and like the movies that he kind of started off in as well. So I'm curious to go back and kind of like watch a few of his popular movies to see
what they're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a screenplay written by the guy who did Terminator 0, which I think was the Netflix like anime.
Okay.
Terminator show, and then the Batman Part 2, which we haven't seen yet.
But I'm assuming it's going to be great.
Or hopefully. Will take place after the events of John Wick Chapter 4, when Kane was freed from his obligations.
I mean, we all saw that coming, right?
And I think it would involve Rina Sawayama's character.
It better
going after him.
Yeah, I would love to see that story from his perspective. I was originally thinking we were going to get her as the main character of this movie,
right?
But I think,
don't like from a studio perspective, it makes more sense to put the lead of like Donnie Yen as a lead who's been a lead in other movies to be the lead of this movie as compared to like this musician slash model slash actress who really made her big
debut in that movie.
In that movie. So
yeah, that's fair. I mean, and Donnie Yen was arguably my favorite thing about that movie. So like it really makes sense to make him the focal point. So yeah, I got no complaints. I figured we would get this movie. I just didn't think it would be with him as the focal point. But that's great.
Yeah, I mean that is and like that. What like I don't know if you said, but that is one of the best parts of Chapter 4 is his whole story.
Yeah, and like the relationship.
And they set it up great. I love everything that they did with his character and his daughter.
He was truly the one
story,
person from like basically all 4 movies that I was like, that's the character I would want to follow after this, you know?
And definitely the most fleshed out and likable.
Yeah. And doing just as badass action
protagonist. Yeah. Like some of the most creative fight choreography, like fight scenes in general that I've seen. Like the way that he's like they figured out how to make a blind man assassin the way that they were able to figure out how he's gonna fight, how he's gonna interact. It was like I think about the scene when they're in is it Japan?
Yeah,
and they're in like the kitchen. Or I think it's the kitchens back there, and he's like putting sensors on the walls, and he's sliding around on the ground.
So good,
good,
man. Yeah, and then we also got John Wick Chapter 5 announced, which is they're doing it. They're doing it. I'm a little surprised, I have to say. It seemed like everything that Keanu Reeves was saying was that, yeah, I'm done. You know, like he died. I'm old, so let's not do another. But yeah, so Adam Fogelson at CinemaCon said, quote, Keanu, Chad, Basil, and Erica would not return unless they had something truly phenomenal and fresh to stay with these characters in this world. And we can't wait for audiences to see where the journey takes us next.
Right.
So, I mean, yes, that's a nice sign.
Like maybe like, you know, it's like just like, oh yeah. I mean, of course, like how do we spin this to, you know, make it positive, you know? But hopefully they do have something good. I just like I think I mentioned when we watched 4, like there was something off with the dog. Like the dog was kind of, I think he was like barking or like kind of looking weird, like tilted his head at some point, and I was like, I wonder if there's like the dog saw something. I don't know. But
I think the thing is that like we didn't see the body go into the ground, so it will always leave it open for, did he die? Did they just like fake his death? Who knows? You know, like so.
But it was so I don't know. They ended that story so well.
I agree. I mean, yes, it's not my favorite of the 4, but like it's still a very good John Wick story.
And what they did was like the perfect way I felt for him to go out.
Okay. Yeah.
Like it couldn't have been a happy ending for him.
No,
There's no way.
but what I guess what bothered me is that like this whole shitty assassin organization was able to like keep surviving with the high table still intact and everything, you know, like that's where I was like, damn, okay, he didn't like fully win. But you know, like I was like, well, they still want to keep like the world alive, so they're gonna kind of keep things intact,
right?
So
maybe he's like, I'm just gonna burn it all to the ground.
Yeah, maybe that's what Chapter 5 is. I'd love that. I'd love to see it, but I guess we don't have any details.
But then if he dies, we just go, oh, he's not really dead.
Well, we'd have to like see him bleed out and then like the life leave his eyes. Or, something crazy definitive that he's dead, right? So, but even then, you could be like, well, that was a body double.
Like, well, it's a shame he's dead. Well, you know, the organization's been working on a way to revive our best assets, you know, and it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's very possible.
But that's our John Wick news.
Yes. It's all the John Wick stuff that they announced. But yeah, next, Marvel Sony announced some things. Specifically, Spider-Man Brand New Day was the title was announced for this fourth Spider-Man movie. That's going to be in theaters on July 31st, 2026. Not much was announced about it. But like what I do know is that the comic, like Spider-Man Brand New Day, is very in line of like where we left off with our version of Spider-Man, where he's
right.
Like the world's memory has been erased and he's alone. And, so I think it's very cool that they're finally like fully going down a comic route, it seems.
Well, I did some reading. I knew about the comic, like the storyline that predates Brand New Day, which is One More Day, which is the story where he asks Mephisto to like Aunt May dies, and then he asks for Aunt May's life, but in return, Mephisto's like, "Well, I want your marriage from Mary Jane."
Yeah. So they erase that, right?
So they erase that, and everybody doesn't know who Spider-Man is. So
they don't know who Peter Parker is, right?
Or they don't know who Peter Parker is, because like even predating that, they have Civil War that happened, and he was the first one to say who, like, reveal his identity,
right? And now everyone doesn't know his identity.
Yeah, like everyone's like, oh, I vaguely remember Spider-Man, who he was.
And I was reading they apparently don't like this like thing that Mephisto did doesn't cause anyone to like delve too deep into why they like forgot.
Yeah.
So
like it does set up things pretty well. Like you have this supernatural user who made made a spell of some kind that now everybody doesn't know who he is.
Right.
His relationship with MJ is now non-existent.
Yeah.
Aunt May still probably going to be dead, but
I mean, I don't think they're going to take that like that part of it, like this deal he makes. Like it's just going to be like a full on like
no
consequences of the last movie.
Right? No, I know. I'm just saying like
so when we Aunt May is dead, right?
Yeah, like Aunt May is definitely definitively dead.
Yes.
They mentioned in the comic that like Harry Osborn, who they believe to be like dead or something, was just overseas and he comes back.
Right.
Could they bring in a Harry? Potentially.
Sure. Yeah.
They could. Yeah, it would be like, I think the idea of like, because I think in that comic they're like weary if like he's up to like being like a goblin. Because they have this
bring in a Harry. Sorry, go on.
Well, this is what I was gonna say. Like, so like he's pretty like he's like, oh fuck the Osborns, man. Like Norman just killed my fucking aunt.
Right.
In the last movie. In the comic, apparently he's very weary that like Harry's up to being like a goblin again, because we have this new character named Menace, who's like got a goblin mask and red hair. And it's revealed that is Harry's girlfriend.
Okay.
So not him, but you could have like a whole plot line where you're like kind of nervous that like this Harry guy is not actually a nice guy, and like.
So my only reservation about that is that we've already confirmed that the Osborns don't exist in the MCU. So it would have to be like, I remember like Norman and Spider-Man No Way Home like tried to find his business and like he just didn't exist.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know if they will bring in somebody like a Harry.
You have to do some clever writing to bring that back in.
Right.
The Osborns. Right.
But people had like brought up like maybe Sadie Singh's character is, like that Menace character, or like a Mary Jane character. But I don't think the Menace character was like, they didn't, apparently people didn't care for that story so much, but maybe
so
like
she was quickly like written out.
Yeah, but the thing, like maybe they could make it like they could revive that character and be like, okay, well, it didn't work in the comics that well, but we could do something cool now. But obviously, I think one of the biggest parts of that story is that like Mr. Negative gets introduced.
Right.
And considering that Destin Daniel Cretton did Shang-Chi, and we have this like obviously like a wealth of knowledge of like Asian like culture, and like going into, I guess like he already started to kind of go into like that organized crime aspect of like the Mandarin. I don't think it would be too far off to be able to do some like crazy cool choreography with Mr. Negative and bring in like his organization. And we even briefly like had like a feast van in No Way Home at some point, I think, or like a feast organization somewhere. So that I'm thinking maybe we get a Mr. Negative in this movie.
That would be cool. I mean, I do think that would be a cool way to introduce, like possibly, like you could really kind of introduce Miles through that if you wanted to, like they did with the Amazing Spider-Man game.
Right, you could.
And my only like, again, reservation with that is that we saw like a really great Mr. Negative interpretation like really recently. So I would like something a little really different.
But that PlayStation Spider-Man.
Yeah, it would be 8 years ago by the time, which is still recent. I mean, it's still less than a decade.
I know, but like Kamala Khan made her comic debut in like what 2013, 2012 or something,
something like that.
So like, I know it was a great representation on the PlayStation, but still would be awesome if we could see it in live action as well.
Sure, that's fair. He's got cool powers and a cool look, so I wouldn't complain. Yeah.
And like, I think the idea of him trying to try to like learn more about May's life and be like, May would have liked me to help out. And then he finds out like this whole thing with, what's Mr. Negative's, real name? Do you remember?
Martin Lee.
Martin Lee. And you find out like I was a close friend of May's, and it's like he's not, but like he's not. There was a bit more complexity going on with his character as well.
There was. Yeah, that'd be a little unfortunate to lose May in that storyline because she was great with the whole Martin Lee thing. Yeah,
but we'll obviously we'll see. I agree. I don't think what I'm trying to say is I don't think that they're gonna go like comic accurate. I think it works very well though to draw some inspiration from it because like again you have the Doctor Strange, aka like Mephisto spell thing going into the whole.
Absolutely.
So
yeah. I think it works, but I just don't remember a lot of other MCU movies like fully naming their movie after the comic.
Well, we got Age of Ultron.
Yep.
We got Civil War.
Infinity War.
Yeah.
Right. Is that
maybe that's it?
Was there a Winter Soldier comic?
Yeah, might have been.
I feel like there was, but I could be wrong. Yeah, that might be it though. Crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we also got some more Spider-Man news with Beyond the Spider-Verse being revealed. We got a description that we can read here of the footage that was shown, but we don't have the footage, unfortunately.
Right.
So the first look opens with the camera moving through a multicolored prism of sorts, and then the scenes from the prior two films intercut with it. And then the footage shifts to a quick succession of teases of what they can expect from the movie, with Miles and Gwen Stacy riding a motorbike. The Spot is sucking the color out of various environments. And then he seems to also have the ability to transform into arachnid-style form that sees him crawling menacingly towards the protagonist. And then a large chunk of the footage is Miles and the alternate version of himself that becomes the Prowler. And then later, there's a shot that shows them and Aaron Davis all working together. So...
yeah, I kind of saw that coming at a certain point.
Yeah. I didn't think they would be like a major antagonist in the movie. I felt like they were going to be a minor point, and maybe they become a part of the team, maybe they don't. But yeah, no, I think that's cool. I'm down for especially Mahershala Ali's Aaron Davis. I think that we saw at the end of the last movie, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I know it's a different actor voicing the Prowler Miles, I think, from what I can tell. I think it might be. So yeah, I think it would be cool to bring both those characters in. They were a nice little tease of what's to come at the end of the last movie.
I think the most shocking thing though about this is that it's coming out not 2026, but 2027.
Yeah. When was the original release date? Do you remember?
It was the next year from the year that
it was like 10 months or like 9 months after the original movie came out.
And I remember when that movie came out and you had brought up like, well, I don't know, I've heard like it's like it has some delays.
No one's filmed or nobody's
done like voice acting.
Right.
And I was like, well, I don't know, like I think they got to get more of the animation done.
It was originally set for March 2024.
So
wow.
3 years off.
3 years, 3 months, something like that.
We're like a little over a year from when it was supposed to originally come out, and now we're gonna have to wait
two more years. Yeah,
which I'm fine with as long as it's like very well done. And by all accounts, like they like people who saw CinemaCon said that the animation that they did have done was very cool. It was very good.
Apparently they have a whole section of their animation team working on new kind of like aspects and developments and styles. So
and I mean, like after everything they did with Across, I mean,
it's going to be good.
Worth it. It was amazing what they were able to do.
What's so unfortunate is that like we all saw the Into the Spider-Verse and we were like, oh, that's a great story. And then we weren't waiting for another one. And then another one came out. We were like, hell yeah. Then we were like, crazy huge cliffhanger. I'm glad it's coming out in 9 months. And now we're waiting over 3 years. But I think it might be 4 years at that point from the last movie.
It would be 4 years.
To wrap up that cliffhanger.
Yes, it would be 4 years.
It's a little rough for me. I was already upset about the cliffhanger when I saw it. So to be waiting this long sucks to say, but
it does suck.
It is. I don't want to rush the animators,
right. I mean, it does suck, but it is like two of the best Spider-Man / animated movies I've ever seen.
Sure. Yeah, it is. It is.
It sucks. I can't really speak much on like the description because it just sounds like a bunch of cool shots that they came up with. They decided to have the spot, look kind of creepy. But besides that, and like a fight between him and Prowler Miles, it's like,
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, there's not much they showed.
But I'm glad it's got a date.
Finally. Oh, man. Yeah. Well, the last thing that Marvel ended up showing off, or that we want to talk about, is the Fantastic Four footage. A lot, maybe not a lot, but some cool things revealed there. But yeah, I'll describe the footage here. So the footage opens with our titular family superhero group being brought onto a talk show, and it establishes that the Fantastic Four have been around for quite a while in this universe and are beloved by their society. Sue Storm and Reed Richards arrive late to dinner with Johnny Storm and Ben Grimm, but make up for it by announcing that she is pregnant.
Called it.
Yeah, you did. And a lot of people did. And then Johnny congratulates them, saying Sue will make a great mom and joking that Reed will have some work to do. And then things seem to be going well in this dimension until the Silver Surfer comes to Earth and warns the Fantastic Four that their world has been marked for imminent destruction. The shadow of Galactus is shown looming over New York, and the Silver Surfer tells our heroes they are in a race against time to save Earth from destruction. A civilian asks Reed Richards if they are going to be okay, to which he answers, I don't know. We then see him consumed by his research, burdened by the heroic responsibilities. Sue and Reed make a promise for their future of their child, and we are shown Reed giving a speech and telling the public that the Fantastic Four will protect them. The trailer ends with a shot of the Silver Surfer riding on the iconic board away from the burning flames of an explosion. So sounds like an amazing trailer. I wish I could see the footage.
Can't wait to watch it.
Yeah. I mean, I cannot wait to see how Silver Surfer looks.
I heard that was one of the best. Like somebody out of the YouTubers that I was watching covering it said that VFX wise, the best thing that they had seen out of all of what was shown at CinemaCon. Like the way they did Silver Surfer was like incredible.
Great.
VFX wise, with all the reflections and whatnot.
Yeah. Dope.
So they said Julia Garner looked great.
Yeah, exciting that we're getting. I think we're honestly getting Sue pregnant to set up like Doomsday Secret Wars a little bit.
Yeah, but I also I still think that when they talk about have they promise making a promise for the future of their kid,
right? There's a lot of stakes there for their family.
Well, I was gonna say I still think that John Malkovich's character could be an older what's the name of their Franklin?
Yeah,
I think that
Franklin Richards.
I still think that it could be an older Franklin Richards.
That would be so crazy.
I would not would not be surprised if there's a little bit of time travel going on potentially.
But here's the thing though. I know that
but the fact that we're going to get a Franklin Richards,
yeah, that's crazy.
Is he is one of the most OP characters.
Yeah, he's crazy. Yeah, and we've never had him in a Fantastic Four iteration, live action at least. So that's great.
I mean, I think raises the stakes in a weird way. Not in a weird way. It just raises the stakes by shit, she's pregnant.
Yeah, and we gotta protect the future of this world for our family and everyone's family out there, right?
Right.
So, no, I love how it all sounds. The story sounds great. Yeah, and I was gonna say I think Matt Shakeman said that interestingly that there are 0 cameos in their movie, that they are the only heroes that exist in their world. So I wonder if that also refers to Franklin an older Franklin Richards. Is that a cameo? I mean, kind of, but
no.
Yeah,
no.
I mean, it's still Fantastic Four related,
Yeah.
Right? So
I don't think so. Well, and that's the thing. It's from everything that we've gathered, they're everybody's Avengers. They're the most beloved. They help people all the time. There's a shot that you didn't mention where the Thing is pulling these chains of this oil rig out of the water.
Wow.
To help people.
That's awesome.
Like a fucking oil tanker,
Yeah, some Hulk shit he's doing.
So, they're doing big things. They're very loved, and then when you have this galactic thing show up, and you have Reed Richards saying, "I don't know," it's
that's scary to hear from your public idol. That I don't know if we can solve this or we can save the Earth from this.
Right.
Yeah, that's scary. I love that though.
But I think it sounds great.
Agreed.
I'm excited to get it. I mean, we saw a new poster, which was pretty neat. I don't know if you saw that new poster that we got. It was kind of like a
I did. It was very
silhouette
retro
of all and
with the four.
Just
right. I liked it a lot.
It was cool.
Yeah,
I liked
it. Was very cool.
I still am more excited at this point about Thunderbolts. Surprisingly, I'm very excited. I'm very excited for Fantastic Four, but Thunderbolts looks like it's gonna be my thing. I'm so pumped for Thunderbolts.
I wish I was on that level. I think it's gonna be cool. I just don't. I'm just worried. I don't know, man.
I'm pumped for that movie, man. It looks so good.
Yeah, I really hope it turns out. I'm not saying it won't. I'm not as optimistic, I think, as you are.
I'm not saying, and again, I'm not saying that I don't think it Fantastic Four will be good. It's just at this given moment, I'm very excited, much more excited for Thunderbolts.
Sure. Interesting.
That's all I'll say.
Well, yeah. After this, we got some DC stuff. I think just specifically Superman,
or just Warner Brothers stuff.
Warner Brothers. Yeah. You're right. But yeah, so Superman trailer was a long one. They used a lot of old footage.
I wouldn't say
from the first trailer.
I'd say like
I mean, it was like 4.5 minutes.
But it's not a trailer.
Yeah.
It's like a close look.
You're
like
right. Yeah.
Like James Gunn even went out like on
They called
social
it a
media
teaser.
and said it was like I'm working on the trailer now.
Right. Well, so the only new stuff that we saw, at least that I could gather, was it was a much more extended look at like the beginning of the first trailer that we saw, where he crash lands in the snow. Crypto comes, but is a very playful dog that ends up hurting him accidentally, which I kind of love.
Yeah.
And then he drags him all the way to the Fortress of Solitude, and we see that like I kind of gathering that the Fortress of Solitude reveals itself when they're close.
Yeah.
You know? And so yeah, it kind of like raises out of the ground pretty fast, and then the doors open and the automatons are there to pick him up and guide him over to a medical kind of table. I love the way the automatons look and they sound and like their personality. It looks all great.
Alan Tudyk is number 4.
Oh, is he one of them? Nice. I didn't even notice.
Yep.
And then it shows them kind of focusing like almost like a beam of sunlight onto Superman to try and get him back to full health. Seems to be hurting him a little bit there. The intense ray of light.
It could also be the fact that he has like multiple broken bones, you know, like.
Yeah, sure. It could be.
But I do.
But it seemed like there was a burning sound happening, possibly.
Yeah. I mean, it, you know, maybe they'll, after that scene's done, it's like maybe it was too much sunlight, you know, something like that. But like, I do like the idea of the super science like side of things with this like iteration, and that.
It seems like the automatons are like building each other, which is interesting. Or like, because like remember like I think it was Alan Tudyk's like automaton was like, yeah, and this is our new number 12.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, so he's not even like building these, or they didn't always exist. There's like new ones coming out. So
right,
interesting. Yeah.
I like the fact that it's like. It's not the peaceful, like being healed by the sun. It's like a literal, like his bones are connecting back and his insides are being changed. And it's not exactly like the most
not a pleasant
experience. Yeah. And also but maybe it is when he's up in space and he's recharging. But
I think if he's like severely injured like that, it's going to be, painful.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what's going on.
I think so. The only other thing I saw in that trailer that was new was that when like Lois and Clark were standing in their like apartment with the orb in the background, you could see that Guy Gardner was like shooting his ring at it. So cool that he'll be seeming like a major player in like multiple parts of this movie. I kind of assumed that he wouldn't maybe have like a huge role, you know, like him and the rest of the JLA, but it seems like they're a pretty major part of this.
I think they're like in it, like not, I wouldn't say a majority, but I'd say they're in it for like a good bit.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think they're obviously more than cameo. They're a supporting cast, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like him and Mr. Terrific and Hawkgirl, like they're all, yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's about, I think, all of the new footage we saw for that.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's so imaginative to just like have this Fortress of Solitude depicted in this way of like this crystallized form shooting up out of the ice and able to like it's like a. It's kind of like a laboratory installation in a sense.
Yeah.
Like it can turn at will.
Right.
I get the feeling that like it started off as like this dome or this building that crashes, but then like over time these crystals have just kind of like formed out. I don't know. Maybe it's some Kryptonian thing, because the inside's not exactly like it's more like a building.
Yeah, for sure. It's not ice, right?
So, and I love the big door that like lights up the like House of L symbol. Like that was great.
Yes, and that like crypto can activate it. That's great.
So good.
So good.
Yeah, I love everything that I saw, and I thought the doing like the reimagined score of the original Christopher Reeve Superman was like awesome to hear. It sounds even more epic.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
for better or for worse. I mean, like I don't think anything will ever beat that John Williams, but like
no. But this one's really great.
It is good.
Yeah. So yeah, still my most anticipated movie this year, you know.
Oh yeah.
Can't get away from that.
Yeah.
But still we got another trailer for an interesting reboot, Naked Gun. I love Airplane. I saw that like within the last year or two, and it's like one of my favorite comedies ever now. And I love Leslie Nielsen. I can't say I've seen Naked Gun, unfortunately. So I need to watch the original because this trailer for the reboot looks hilarious. And I was shocked that Liam Neeson like actually feels like it works as a comedy, you know, like with him. I wasn't expecting that.
It's like, I hope if this is as good as I imagine it can be, I hope this can bring back the like slapstick spoof movie.
Oh, that would be amazing.
That we've just not had in so long.
Yeah.
Because they really grinded it into the dust with the like
the 2000s or what?
Well, yeah, like the late 2000s, you had like a million scary movies. You had like
superhero movie.
The superhero movie. What's the one where you had like the 300 like spoof?
I don't remember.
There was but you had like, and there was one where like super like the Brandon Routh Superman was like getting shot in the eye and it like actually hurt him.
That was probably a superhero movie, I'm assuming. Yeah.
It might have been, but like I just remember like there'd be like a vampire movie,
or
you know,
like a teenage movie or
not enough. Right. Yeah. And it's like they really were just terrible movies that were coming out. And like this one is also extremely graphic.
Yeah. First scene was Liam Neeson like killing a couple of guys with a lot of blood.
Yeah, and it's like it's not taking itself seriously,
not at all,
because it's like we're going back into that like Michael Myers, Dana Carvey, like
just
ridiculous,
incredible, goofy.
Yeah, because it's like, of course he can't be this child. Like,
he just. Yeah, like I'm like, how does he stand up from that? You know, but it's amazing, and I love that it like it's the same. It's just like, have you seen Airplane? I'm assuming.
No, it's a shame. I have shame for not watching that.
It's so good, and it's like it's the same. Like it's just outlandish and goofy humor like the entire time, and like I was laughing the entire time, and I expected this to be very similar. Like I think. The jokes are great. I love the end joke where they're like all kids of like the main characters of the last movie. And
then the last one's OJ Simpson.
And the guy's like, no.
So good.
So great. Yeah. So I didn't get a release date for that one. But I think it's this year.
We got the trailer for it, or not the trailer. Sorry, we were just talking about the trailer. We got the poster for it, which is like very similar to the first one.
Yeah, Liam Neeson's doing the splits.
And somebody like on like Twitter or something was like, "Oh, this looks like a terrible like 2000s like comedy," and I was like, "But that's what it's like. That's what
we're missing.
That's what we want."
Yes, exactly. Because 2000s comedies,
it's giving like that Zoolander kind of like pressed up against the like the wall of the poster that was like so good.
Absolutely. But yeah, this one comes out August 1st this year. So we got a wonderful summer release for that one.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that movie.
Gonna need to watch the original for sure.
The next one is we didn't get a lot about the details. Well, sort of, but the next one I'm very interested in, which is the Beatles biopic that is coming out. with Shawn
4 of them.
Mendes directing. There's gonna be 4 of them. And I think the interesting thing, we got the cast, which I'll go over. But what's interesting about it is they're saying that it's going to be the first bingeable theatrical experience. And basically what's happening is all 4 of these movies, we don't know if they're all coming out at once, which I imagine by saying all like a bingeable theatrical experience that they are
coming all on the same day. Yeah.
Unless they mean it in a bingeable, like every weekend you can watch the next one. I don't know.
From what I hear, it's the same day.
But in April 2028, they're going to have all 4 Beatles biopic movies, which each one will be it'll be like somewhat of the same events or all the same events, but told through the perspective of each one of the Beatles.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I think I was expecting something a little different. You know, like I which I think that's still cool, but like I was expecting like maybe some similar scenes from like different perspectives, but a lot of like going into their own like individual lives, personal lives.
I still think that it's going to happen.
Okay.
But
good.
Like, I don't know. I'm not the filmmaker. I'm just saying that's what I'm guessing.
Right.
Because that would be the most interesting. That would be one of the more interesting ways to do it.
I agree. But I do love that idea of like showing like maybe it's a pivotal scene in the movie.
Yeah.
And everyone has their own perspective on it. That would be very cool. Now, I think this is so incredibly ambitious.
Oh, yeah.
You're shooting like 8 hours of film for one release date, probably, unless you're doing an hour and a half for each. But even then, you're asking audiences to buy 4 tickets to 4 different movies. And I just don't know how plausible that is for the average audience, you know?
I agree. I think, you know, when everybody's been like, oh, everything's been done in Hollywood, there's only just trying to make it better. This has never been done before. So like, it's very exciting to me, but I am like wondering how effective having like doing this will be, not only from like the audience getting something out of each viewing of these movies, and also will it just kind of, will it deter like people from like seeing all of them? Will they even see one of them because they feel like they have to see like more of them?
Right.
I don't know. But I do think like there's a lot of Beatles fans out there that I think would be very interested.
I mean, I'm very interested. Yeah.
I don't know, but I do think it's smart in the casting that they have.
Oh yeah, cast is
because you have one of the hottest actors right now in Barry Keoghan, like playing Ringo. Who
you saying something?
Well, all respect to Ringo, but like I'm not, I don't think that a majority of audiences are going to be like, oh, I want to go see the Ringo movie first.
For sure. That'd probably be the last one they watch.
Right. So Harris Dickinson as John Lennon. I like Harris Dickinson. He was great in
I haven't heard his name.
Well, he was in the Iron Claw, and he was fantastic. He was really he was good in Baby Girl. He was just playing a very different type of character.
Right.
So I'm very intrigued as to why they're going with him as John Lennon.
I think I feel like they know the John Lennon one will sell regardless of who's the star, you know?
Right.
And the rest are
same thing for like Paul, like
but then you got Paul Mescal, who's a pretty huge actor right now too.
Right. And that and I think he looks, out of all of these characters, not characters, all out of these actors, he looks the most like Paul.
Sure.
And then Joseph Quinn is George Harrison, which Joseph Quinn's just like getting all these roles.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, he is like, the new flavor of the month for Hollywood right now. So
but like I can kind of see him being George.
I can see all these guys being, John, Paul, George, and Ringo. I think they all work for it.
Yeah.
They're not like exact one-to-ones, but I think it's a cool cast you got here. I ain't got any complaints. I
just am very curious about the decision to put them all out in 1 month. Maybe it's because they're like, I don't think that we'll be able to get the same amount of money like if we put each one out like every month or something. I don't know, but
maybe the thought is that like they've lumped a budget, maybe it's not like let's put a budget for each movie, like they have one ginormous budget and they're treating it as like one movie, and maybe like just an audience member buying a ticket to one of these movies will be effective enough for this to make their money back. I don't know. That's my only thought on how you could safely do this.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be curious to know how they budget it. And like how many, because you'd have to shoot the same scene from a different perspective each time. Yeah. You're asking a lot, but at least like you can do that in like, you can shoot scenes for like multiple or for all of the movies all in like a matter of a few days, right? So I think in that sense, it's almost easier to make this movie because of that. But right. I still think it's an incredible challenge to shoot that much footage for 4 movies. Or you have 4 to 6 different camera operators. In the same scene, right? Like focusing on each different character. You get to do some incredible blocking to get rid of all the cameras in those scenes. For sure. Yeah, that could work. But yeah, I'm excited. But this one is April 2028. So we got to wait 3 years for this one. Which kind of sucks, but we'll be there. I'm very excited just for the fact that like this is like a new thing. And Shawn Mendes has done Skyfall in 1917. I mean, like considering the fact that he did 1917. Yeah. And the ability to shoot those long scenes without those long shots, cutting. Man. Like I'm just like, if somebody could do this, it could I could see it with him for sure. Absolutely. So. He's talented for sure. I'm excited. I think you might be maybe even more excited for this next trailer. So as longtime listeners or viewers of the podcast may know, I love Megan. Yeah. Megan was a surprise horror hit, if you want to call it that. Now, was the first one this like fun? As like we're seeing the second one try to be? Well, so yes. Okay. But I would say it's less let me state like when the first Megan came out, like it already to me was like, oh, this is like kind of campy and like they're doing this like fun horror robot thing, like almost like Chucky but updated in a way. Yeah. And when I saw the movie, I had no way to realize like how much they would go into like there's just random moments where like she sings like a cappella like Sia's Titanium to like as a lullaby, and it's like all auto-tune and stuff, and it's just funny. And then like they do these dances and she's got like this like sass to her while she's like killing people. Right. And so like there is like a level of like self-awareness and camp, but at the same time it was still like sometimes like these horrific like slasher kind of scenes. Okay. But for the most part, like I think even if you don't like horror movies, like I wouldn't call it that much of a horror movie. Like it's more of like a thriller most of the time. Right. But this movie, Megan 2.0, it feels different than that. They're basically, from what I see from this trailer, is that they're doing the thing that Terminator and Alien did when it went to Terminator 2 and Aliens, which is they're taking the horror movie and they're making it an action movie. Right. And they're just like upping everything. So it just looks so goofy to me. Well, like, but that's so like incredibly goofy. It's and that like there's goofy moments in Megan that they're just like amplifying now, and they're making it like they're making it camp but there's like a little bit of like still like serious action stuff going on that like it just looks fun. And the fact that like the AI of Megan, they actually were able to retrieve and put into this harmless, like goofy child's toy is, and then somebody else developed Amelia, which is like this even more dangerous AI. And now they got to get Megan to like be the only one that can stop Amelia, and you're gonna have these two robots like fight off. Like
it almost reminds me of like what Godzilla versus Kong was, in a sense, where you're like, well, we're kind of framing Godzilla as the bad guy, but actually we're gonna have him fight a worse version of him as a robot,
right?
And and it's just like it was surprising because I didn't feel like the vibe of that first movie was necessarily this.
It's not, but it is, but it's not.
And now, you're getting like basically you're building up to a climax where like this previous serial killer robot is now going to fight a worse serial killer robot, and it's going to be a huge robot one-on-one fight. I don't. It's wild. It's not what I was expecting.
I don't know. Like when I watched it, I was like, oh yeah, they're like with the like the Britney Spears song kicking back, like kicking in.
Did it again, or was it? Yeah, Oops, I Did It Again. Or
yeah,
and that wasn't like that. That added to the whole vibe and tone of that trailer.
Right.
It's just
And I still don't think that Megan is like completely good. Like I think there'll be like a twist at some point.
Well, I mean, you heard her at the end say like, "Hey, I got a deal. If you want her," I don't remember the other character's name.
Yeah, they're like, "You can kill the aunt. I just want to protect Katie."
Right. So clearly, that's still her only directive, but she's willing to like help kill this other robot.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess if this robot is trying to kill Katie, then obviously she's going to try.
Well, I mean, it looks like she's trying to blow up the whole world.
Yeah, that's fair. So, it makes sense. It's just, it's surprising, is what I'll say. I can't say I loved it, but maybe I would have a really fun time watching it. I don't know. Yeah, but definitely not a movie you take too seriously.
Yeah.
Well, another movie that was announced was Jordan Peele's next movie. It's called Him, and this stars Marlon Wayans and Tyreek Withers, and it centers on a college football superstar who suffers a major injury before getting the chance to be coached by one of his biggest idols. I don't really know. I guess there's not much more to it than that from what we're hearing, right? But it sounds like there's going to be some twist where like his idol isn't who he thinks he is and has this kind of dark life where he's kind of forcing him to do these awful things. And because Jordan Peele's, it's a horror movie, and it's Jordan Peele, so there's going to be some horror twist to it. But I mean, like, I love this concept. I'm a big football guy, so I think this is kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of a sports movie with horror
that goes horror in it
off the top of my head.
Yeah, you're right. I agree. It's not really a genre you really mix with horror.
But I like it.
Yeah, no, that's exciting. I think that's cool. I mean, you basically, like, his last movie was trying to do, were you kind of trying to do a Western? Yeah, with horror. So no, I like these kind of innovative twists on genres. So
yeah, and he always does, like, as much as I didn't really love Nope the way that other people seem to have. Yeah, like he still always does things that are like innovative or cool, or at least like they're interesting takes and like ideas that I wouldn't have thought of, like, especially when it comes to like what the UFO was in Nope. Like that was cool. Right. I liked Us a lot. I know I probably like it more than some other people do. And obviously Get Out was amazing. So like I'm just hoping that this movie gets back to what made like Get Out and Us to me like such like really good movies.
Right.
Like I don't, but we'll see. I really like Jordan Peele, and I think even though like again, like he's probably like 2 out of 3 for me, maybe 1 out of 3, depending on like how I feel about Us some days.
I still haven't seen his first 2 movies.
You should.
Yeah.
I still think that like he's such a unique talent that I just want these to be good.
I do really want to seek it out. I don't really have like a huge desire to see Us. That's because I haven't heard like amazing things about it. But if you're saying I should watch it, then I'll check it out.
I need to watch it again. But Get Out is like his best movie.
Right. Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, this one I guess is actually coming out this year. I don't think there was any footage shown, right? It was just
no,
just
there
kind of
wasn't any footage shown. No,
so we'll probably be getting a trailer somewhat soon. I'm surprised it wasn't shown at CinemaCon if it's coming out on September 19th, but we will see it soon, I'm sure. The last thing I think from CinemaCon we wanted to talk about though was Predator Badlands was revealed, which is the Predator movie that's taking place in kind of the near distant future, I guess.
Right.
And it's from the same director as the director from Prey. I did not get their name. But yeah, basically the kind of, I guess the thinking in developing this movie was, what if the Predator was a good guy? And so it sounds like we're following a predator that is kind of been outcast by his own people and is now doing his own thing and maybe kind of good things. I don't really know, but
potentially good things. Yeah.
Right. The description that we got was that it teased an unexplored alien planet as a predator with white dreads. Oh, sorry. Did I get the wrong spot? No. Okay. With white dreads made its way onto the screen, the leading hero Predator can be seen going toe-to-toe with swords against another humanoid opponent and then faces a massive alien monster as the two growl roar at one another. The trailer ends while it's facing what appears to be living vines in the forest. Interesting stuff.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like... I mean, what's interesting is that like Ellie Fanning is, I guess, a big part of this movie. But if it's on an alien planet, I'm curious, is she a human? Is she like an alien race person?
Right.
I'd be totally cool if like it's just a different alien race. Yeah. And so what they're saying is that like, unlike the last, I guess, whatever, how many Predator movies there's been, she is doing something different where instead of going up against or, running away, she's going to be like, it sounds like seeking out the Predator and teaming up with him.
Right.
Which, funny enough, is similar to that. I don't know if you remember the reboot that came out like in 2010 or something, or 2011. I can't exactly remember.
What, Predators?
It was...
Or that might have been even 2016 or something.
Yeah, it was the one where they like had... They had like a predator. They had like multiple predators in the movie, but one of them was like actually trying to save the humans, and like the other one was trying to like. It was so stupid. The plot point was like the people with autism were like on a higher, spectrum of humans, and they were basically trying to like grab the blood of people with like autism and like.
Oh, I might have heard of that.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, it obviously failed as a movie, but at least they're bringing that interesting, like, what if the Predator was good back,
Yeah.
So,
and cool. I mean, like, with the guy who directed Prey, I think, is it like Trachtenberg or something?
I'll look it up.
What was so great about that movie is that
Dan Trachtenberg.
Okay, cool. So what was so great about that movie was they brought it into like the past where it's this Native American tribe,
right,
with pretty simple tools, I guess, simple weapons that has to fight off this thing that can be invisible and track you with thermal vision and various other ways of killing you, heat-seeking shit, like so. And they were able to make it this really compelling, exciting story that had never really been told before. And but except kind of going back to how like the end of the first Predator movie goes, where like it's Arnold Schwarzenegger's character basically doing the same thing, but for like the last like 20 minutes or 30 minutes or so.
Right,
but it was a whole movie of that, and it was great. And this one, we're basically like flipping it, where the Predator might be the good guy, maybe going up against some other predators, or possibly just some other aliens on this these other like humanoid creatures.
Maybe we end up following this guy, this like specific predator, for like a couple more movies after this, and he's like this Western kind of hero going from like planet to planet saving people or something.
Yeah, maybe. I don't.
Not that I need that. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see this one.
I kind of just like these like ideas of these lone stories just from different time periods,
For sure. I think it works, like, and that's how they kind of set up. Like, I didn't fully see Predator 2, but it's like it doesn't have anything to do with the original. Like you're it's a completely different setting. You're like in LA versus the jungle in the first movie, like, so they definitely do like to contain their stories within each movie. So I think that's the way you should keep going, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, very interesting,
concept.
If it's anything like Prey, if not better, like I will be happy.
Right.
Yeah.
Still cool. Need to see that one, but yeah. That's all from CinemaCon that we wanted to talk about. The last piece of news that we thought was incredibly interesting was that there's going to be a sequel to Quentin Tarantino's last movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And it's going to be focused on the adventures of Cliff Booth, Brad Pitt's character. Doesn't seem like Leonardo DiCaprio will return for this, but basically, it's what sounds like what happened is that Tarantino's last movie originally was going to be called The Movie Critic, and Cliff Booth was going to appear in it. I don't know if he was going to be the main character, but he was. Well, I guess they are saying that he had been cast in a lead role. And the story was set to take place in the 70s and follow a film critic who wrote for a porn magazine. And he'd be playing some version of Cliff Booth, who is revealed to be quite the movie buff. And so Brad Pitt apparently liked that script and story so much, he was like, hey, can I take this script to David Fincher and pitch it and see if he would want to do anything with it? And so, David Fincher's now set to direct this thing with at Netflix, and it'll be a Cliff Booth led movie. So I don't think it'll be called the film or the movie critic.
Right.
But very surprising. I don't think we've seen anyone build off of a Quentin Tarantino story before besides Death Proof. Because I know he did a joint like double feature of that with like Robert Rodriguez, I think.
Oh, okay.
But not something he does a lot. But I think personally, I was so disappointed to see this movie canceled, The Movie Critic. And I really wanted to see more of Cliff Booth. So I'm not complaining about this at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. Like, I think it's a cool idea. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is not my favorite Quentin Tarantino
That's
movie.
Right, it's not.
I know
it's a top 5 for me.
For some people, it's their favorite. Which
that's a little strong. Yeah,
but
it's really
people,
good.
It is.
Yeah.
I think Cliff Booth is a cool character. If David
the best character in that movie.
Yeah, I mean, but like, it's just like they don't. It's not like they go into him the way that they go into like Leonardo DiCaprio's character with what like he's experiencing and feeling necessarily.
Sure. I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio's performance in that is incredible.
Yeah.
So, I'm a little bummed that he's not coming back because they were bros,
Right. I think what do I want to say? I guess he's
doesn't sound like you're excited.
No. I'm intrigued. I just I'm just curious. Like I just didn't think that I just am so curious what the story following Brad Pitt's Cliff Booth character is gonna like. How exciting that's gonna be. Because what I liked so much about that movie, the parts that I did really like about it were his interaction and his relationship with Leonardo DiCaprio's character, right?
For sure.
I do like the idea that he's like this badass who can like beat like Bruce Lee and like, like he's this
I love
stunt
those scenes,
performer
yeah.
and
right. And I loved his like interactions with like like the Manson like kind of gang. Like he comes off as like a confident badass at every turn, and I think that's a really fun character to follow.
yeah. I mean, and if David Fincher's like, I want to direct this, then by all means,
that's
like,
cool. Yeah.
Like the guy who did Seven and the guy who did, Fight Club and the guy who did The Social Network. Like if you want to do this and it's written by Quentin Tarantino,
hell yeah.
Let's do it. By all means, like it sounds like it's gonna be a great thing.
A team up of David Fincher, Quentin Tarantino, and Brad Pitt. Like that's like you couldn't ask for a better trio right there.
It sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I'm
bummed it's for Netflix. I'll say that.
For me, I'm just like, I just don't know. I can't even imagine what this story could be. Because like to me, I was like, oh, Cliff Booth. Like, yeah, he was a cool character, but like I didn't really think there'd ever be anything more to that,
I mean, maybe we'll go into the fact that like he murdered a bunch of people at the end of the last movie. I don't know. I mean, like
maybe
it feels like, I mean, that was, supposed to be like the end of the hippie age or the hippie era. And now the world's a little different because Sharon, is it Tate or Carter?
Yeah.
Or Sharon Tate, yeah. She wasn't murdered. So no, I don't know. I think that story in that movie is really
it
cool.
would be cool to imagine what the 70s might look like
without that.
If it's like reimagined, like if the Manson murders did happen,
Right.
Or maybe he didn't go up against Manson though, did he?
He murdered him.
Oh, he was one of the.
Yeah, I thought he murdered Manson, didn't he?
Was that him that got killed? I couldn't remember if he was just like if he was like a cultist, like who was a part of it, or if he actually was Manson. He might have been Manson that got killed at the end.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was just a couple of like high up followers.
Because I think you saw at one point the guy who played Manson and he was acting really weird and strange, like outside the door of like a house.
Didn't we see him like go away to prison? Wasn't maybe I can't remember. I have to see the movie again.
You're the bigger fan.
But the last time I saw it was in theaters in 2019. So it's
you've only seen it the one time?
Yeah,
that's surprising.
Well, I've never seen it on streaming or anything, right? So I mean, maybe it is on streaming. I just haven't.
I think it is.
Seen it around.
I've definitely seen it on streaming.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm missing my shot, I guess, to watch it again. But no big deal. I just gotta watch to figure out what happens to is it Marilyn Manson? It's not Marilyn Manson, is it?
No.
I was like, what the hell is his first name?
Charles.
I was like, why can't I think of his effing first name? No, but yeah, I think that's a super exciting thing. Like I said, I'm just a little upset it's at Netflix. Hopefully Fincher and Tarantino can argue for a theatrical release like Greta Gerwig has.
Right.
But yeah, we'll see. But I believe that is the end of our topic list this week.
Yeah.
Did you have anything you wanted to shout out that you've been watching?
Well, I finished Common Side Effects, the first season. It just got renewed for a second season, which I'm very happy about.
Yep.
Yeah, that show is very good. I have a lot of questions as to how the mushrooms work.
Okay.
But it's really intriguing stuff. They're going in plot lines, like they're going in directions that is yeah, I don't know. It's a great show. It's like
nice.
they're doing
funny,
stuff.
Right.
It's funny, but it's also very serious at times.
Nice.
Like there's moments that I'm like I was shocked that happened in like the last two episodes that I watched. Yeah, it's an incredible show. The animation and the art style's fantastic. Yeah, I highly recommend it.
Cool.
And then I think the only other thing that I've seen is I got to watch up until like the last 20 to 30 minutes of Deadpool and Wolverine again last night.
Oh, nice.
Because then I started to fall asleep because it was getting late and I wasn't feeling good.
Right.
But yeah, that was great.
It's a fun ride.
I think I can't remember what I put it at, but I'd still probably put it at like a solid like 4.
Yeah, I put it at a 4 when I watched it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I finished Reacher season 3. That's
Nice.
a lot better than season 2, I would say. It doesn't like the problem with season 2 for me is that it went like too far into his like backstory and like personal life and all the people that he cares about. And so this one was more of like yes, it's personal to him because he's trying to like it's a revenge story, but it was like it was set in a smaller town in Maine, which was like very much how the first season felt. And yeah, it was a great season, great mystery and super fulfilling, like action heavy ending. Yeah, I love Reacher. I'll keep watching it as long as they put it out. It's really fun. Yeah.
I also did watch Survivor this week.
Yeah. So Survivor was great. I was very happy to see who went home. I was
well, I just learned yesterday that somebody at my work, her husband actually worked at Longhorn Steakhouse with her.
Okay. Oh, with Charity?
Charity, yeah.
Whoa, no way. Does he have nice things to say about Charity?
He said she was cool.
Okay. Because
I also learned Hannah didn't remember, but her and her best friend went to high school with Tevin from that other season.
Tevin. I'm trying to remember who Tevin is.
Like 2 seasons ago.
Yeah. He was. Oh yeah, he was the black guy
with the like piercings on and like some dreads.
Wow, small world, huh? Crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. No, yeah, but like Charity to me just felt like the biggest snake there, and was constantly like not the most like what was so funny is that Eva was like, it's hard for me to read social cues and when like people are lying to me, but she was immediately able to pick up that Charity was like fake.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, there's something about this woman I'm not vibing with. She wasn't happy at all for Eva like after that challenge, and like yeah, her trying to say to Star that like you need to give the idol back is just, I didn't love any of that, you know. So I was happy to see her go. I would have preferred Say to go,
or Cedric.
Yeah, Cedric's
Did you buy into like what he was saying like when they got back from Tribal?
I do believe him. I don't think he's lying about that. I do think it's insane that that's the route he went. Because I wouldn't have done that. I would have been like, okay, I'll work with Bianca.
It's just like, I don't know if he's a liability.
What's insane though is
like he's a physical liability.
He is a physical liability, and I mean, he obviously had a breakdown about that last episode. But like, what's crazy is that he's like controlling. He's controlled a large portion of this game. You know, like he's the reason Kevin went home because Kevin was trying to go for Say. He's the reason that the pizza guy went home because Say convinced him. I don't remember his name. But Say convinced him that she needed to be there over him.
I mean, I feel like they were like, tell us, like, we need to shape like what you're going to be known as for this. And they just fully went in on pizza.
Yeah, he had like 2 pizza analogies too. It was terrible. I hated it. But yeah, and then this last vote with Bianca, like he fully controlled that one. So it's insane that he's just like willing people to go home, and he's one of the worst Survivor players I've seen in years.
He's terrible Survivor player.
He is.
Just like from a physical standpoint, but even like from
a gameplay standpoint, he's terrible.
Yeah, it's
like he just doesn't know what he's doing.
He can't win, man. But he wins, like
he's still there. Like I know. Yeah, I need to see Say.
Was like, why didn't they put Say home? Because like now she's going to be a part of the like the jury, right?
No. So one more person will go home, and then the people who go home after that will be part of the jury. So the next person who goes will still, yeah. So Say could go and not. I mean, I'm hoping she goes next time, but we'll see. But yeah, I think other than that, I think we've both been watching Daredevil, which we'll get back onto reviewing next week, hopefully. Can't say I've been happy with what's been coming out.
Well, you liked
I liked
5 and 6.
No, I like 3 and 4. We both weren't super happy with 5 and 6. Remember, that was the bank one, and then
I thought you liked it. Oh,
not really.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean we were both texting each other that night when we were watching it. We were like,
I just interpreted your text as being like, I thought you were enjoying it.
Like 5 wasn't bad, but it was just incredibly cheesy all throughout. And then 6 was just like had some of the worst action and like CGI I've seen, and it was like building up to a muse that wasn't like a great build up.
7 was a bigger improvement though.
7, I will say, like, there's one thing in there that I couldn't have rolled my eyes at any harder. It might be like the one thing that like pissed me off the most about this whole show. Maybe not, because I'm mad about Foggy and Karen being written out, but fine, whatever. The thing that really bothered me was that like Matt saw this painting drawing of his girlfriend. Ran his hands over it and was like, that's her. And I'm like, no, that is not how this works.
Yeah, it was pretty dumb.
And then the police were like, yeah, we took a picture of it, facial ID'd it, and it's her. And I'm like, no, you wouldn't get that either. Like it was some of the stupidest writing I've seen this whole season.
Yeah, that was pretty dumb.
It was really bad.
That was pretty dumb.
Yeah.
Also, like, what was it? It was like he can hear, like in the previous 2 episodes, he could hear all this like talking and stuff through this like concrete building of a bank from like a block down the road.
Right, yeah.
But he couldn't hear this like lone cop like sneak up on him in the muse's lair. Like,
it's so bizarre, right? Like it's so inconsistent, and like I don't know. Like the more the show goes on, his side characters piss me off like even more. Like Cherry and Kirsten, like the lawyer that he's partnered with, like they're just nothing characters to me. Like they're just there to like have a little bit of conflict, and there's just no development with them at all.
Yeah.
Even with his girlfriend, there's barely anything there, So it's a little unfortunate. I'm really hoping that 8 and 9, that they're reporting that was the 2 shows that were like shot after the rework, the 2 episodes, I mean, shot after the rework of it. So hopefully those are better.
Well, how do you feel about, do you think that Vanessa wanted, like,
no, I don't. I think the plan was to send him there for Kingpin to kill the guy. I think they were both to me, the fact that like Kingpin was like, see what Vanessa wants for dinner immediately is like, we're still on the same page.
Okay.
That's how I read it, at least. I could see
or
it
is,
being
or is
read
it like,
differently.
we're having some marital issues, and I'm like, I'm gonna try to kill you, and I don't know.
Yeah, I still think they're on the same page. I think they're fine. It was very interesting though. I did like that part, but what was, on the other end, not great was like Muse was teasing the first episode, and then we didn't see his human counterpart. Yeah, his Bastion self until this last episode. We never got any therapy sessions throughout the season.
Yeah,
there was no buildup at all.
None.
So yeah, and then they just killed him, and I was like, oh, that's it for Muse. Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, not the happiest, but I'm hoping for the best for these last 2 episodes. But I think that's all I've watched these past couple of weeks. I don't know about you.
That's it. That's it.
Cool. Well, as always, thank you guys for watching and listening to our podcast. We like to release these weekly in clips 3 times a week. If you want to follow us on our social medias and audio platforms like Spotify, Podbean, and Apple Podcasts, those links are in the description below. And if you want to give us a comment, a rating, a review, or a subscribe, we greatly appreciate it.
And as always, until next time.